Hi all, welcome back to the Ivico Daily Restoration. Here's the... Sorry I haven't had an update in probably over a year now. I haven't done much to the van up until the beginning of the coronavirus lockdown that started in the UK in March 2020. But here we can see the van as I used it last year. I think I did probably 4 or 5 different race weekends and various other overnight stays in it. The worst of which was at Donington Park, where it absolutely poured with rain, torrential rain all day and all night, and the van virtually flooded with water streaming down the walls, coming through the roof. It was a very cold, wet and miserable time. So since then I parked the van up in a barn and left it to dry out, and then come March thought I'd have a go at seeing if I could make it a bit better. So as you can see here, in this extremely sped up time lapse image that you're seeing, I started at the very first panel, drilling out every single rivet, and it seemed to be hundreds of rivets on every single panel, which this already sped up footage is showing you took absolutely ages. So once the panel was off, it was then a case of using a drill and later an angle grinder, which sped up the process significantly, to grind away all of the iron oxide and aluminium oxide that had been left on the frame. I'm also doing it underneath the van as well, because you'll see in a bit I actually create a shelf underneath the van to add some handy storage. So this is 4 times an already sped up time lapse, so you can see how long it took. Now what I'm doing here is templating, trying to find the profile of the floor and the side where the wood is going to go into. And now I'm painting all of the frame, and once I've resanded and once I've sanded the back of the panel and the front of the panel, I also paint the back to try and form a greater protective barrier between the aluminium and the steel that's predominantly makes up the frame itself. So this is an example of where I don't particularly keep good continuity on these time lapses. So what you didn't see is me cutting out the bits of wood or putting the undercoat on them. So that there was just putting the top coat on. I'm also repainting the steel cage. Now I'm prepping the panel that came off. First of all, I'm getting rid of all of the aluminium oxide on the front face, and I'm doing exactly the same on the back face of the panel. This took ages and ages and ages. What you didn't see again, brilliant continuity, is painting the inside of the sheet panel before I put it on, and I also Sikaflexed it before putting the panel on, and then riveted the panel on, which you also didn't see. So that was just me putting the first coat of many coats of white paint. Well, another day. Well, I think we're in day 3 or 4 at the minute, and I'm doing exactly the same thing again, but just with different panels. And this went on and on and on and on and on, and I can't tell you how long it took to do this. Trying to fit it in with so at this time I had left my job due to quite a toxic work environment, and I was able to work on the van all day. It was a bit daunting, not quite knowing when the next paycheck's going to come in, but yeah, at least it gave me something to focus on. And the weather's been absolutely glorious as well. It really helped keep focused, keep motivated, not having to do it in a bitter cold wind, rain, which I know awful lot of people have done their vans, and you know, hats off to you. So I made a mistake at this point. You probably can't see, but I'm actually painting the bottom rail, and I soon learned when you're doing painting, you start at the top and work down, because paint inevitably falls off brushes and rollers, and I ended up painting this bottom rail 3 or 4 times, which was quite irritating. But yeah, lessons learned. Learned an awful lot on this whole build actually, and you know, I was quite pleased at how I managed to. You know, I spend all my days sitting on a computer dreaming up algorithms and processing data. So getting quite practical like this was pretty new to me. So another day, another panel, and as you can see from the clouds whizzing above my head, this takes a long time. In a lot of ways, I really envy you panel van converters, because you didn't have to do any of this. You know, you started effectively with with reasonably solid panels ready to bolt stuff onto. I think the advantage is going to come with this van when we start doing the inside, because everything's right angles and everything's straight, and I haven't got any of the profiling woodworking that I know many of you struggle with, trying to get everything butt up and nice and good looking. Now, having reviewed this footage, I actually put these time lapses together at this time. I realised that this is quite boring, and I hope it goes some way to show how long it took to get to this point. But anyway, let's cut to chase, and here are some before and after. Oh, quite a transformation. I hope you agree. I now try and do some sort of commentary around the outside of the van, but being a rubbish vlogger, I didn't realise that the video had stopped, so most of what I was waffling on about isn't recorded, but here is what I did get. Oh, another. And here's the finished result. One prison van white, as one YouTuber called it, Iveco Daily. Yeah, got these CBs off eBay. CB, I'm sure that's not how you pronounce it. But the original halogen bolt to go with the age of the vehicle. Took these wheels off. This is Hammerite. This is bumpers painted in bumper paint, believe it or not, as is the rest of the plastic trim. It's quite tricky getting up the top there. I nearly fell off a few times. Fixed the rust. I thought you'd enjoy joining me on this reveal. So I was doing a little bit of rust under here. There was this bit of tape, which, if you can see, there's absolutely no rust here. And I just lifted it up and voila, what a big pile of rust. So I'm just taking these bits out. This is the last one. You see how bad it is. You ready? Oh, it's absolutely lamb. That's actually not as bad as I feared. It looks like water's got in through these holes. Oh, you probably can't see because of my arm. It looks like the water's gone in from those fixing points and just rotting it out from those holes. Time to de-rust and hoover out what I can. Can't get a brush. Anyway, I think you get the picture. Here's the continuation of the video. I didn't realise I'd missed a load of, so sorry if it sounds a bit odd. The pump that you can see down there. If you can see the wood underneath there. I haven't done anything with these side. This is where the water tanks are going to go. I haven't done that yet. Inside hasn't changed very much at all, other than the generator leaking petrol everywhere, so it absolutely stinks. But what I have done is tidied up this wiring. So I've bought these bus bars, which meant I could terminate all of the cables nice and neatly to it and run the big fat ones back to the battery so we don't get any voltage loss. And it's working really well. And there's a little hole just down there where all the cables run down. With the consumer unit, with the changeover, the battery charger running off the mains, 3,500 watt inverter. Got a winch down there to pull the cars up. There's a bit of a fuse spur for the battery charger. And then this is a fused box. It's got permanent power. This is a mess. I haven't finished this yet. That's a relay for the air suspension pump. So what I intend to do is put another one of these boxes in. Another one of these boxes in, but that'll be on a relay fused with the ignition, because I've got a camera in up here and it's on all the time and it will drain the battery, so I only need that to come on when the ignition's on. And there's other stuff that needs to come on with the ignition as well. So yeah, that's the state of play. I'm not going to do any more this year, because hopefully we're going to start racing soon, and I'll have to get busy doing all that. Well, thanks for making it this far on that rather disjointed vlog. I think doing this has taught me I need to spend a lot more time doing it, hence the massive smudge on the camera, and it being the only B-roll I have. So yeah, I hope you stick around for some more videos. The racing ones tend to be a bit more exciting than scraping off rust endlessly, and yeah, hopefully we can get racing again soon in a nice, safe, socially distanced manner for all of the officials and marshals, and start using the van for what it's meant to do, rather than just sitting on the drive getting more rusty and creating me loads of work. Everybody's staying safe and following the government advice, and yeah, I hope to catch you next time. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and yeah, see you soon.